About time England won a World Cup, isn't it?
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Chipped in. And put it in. And it's there by David Platt. England have done it in the last minute of extra time.
2002 made us dreaming, and the next 10 years we're dreaming, but the golden generation didn't fall. Humiliation against Iceland, but in Russia we start crying. Now the feeling is our time, we make it all. Sing ooh la la.
Lineker is in the middle. They're tearing Poland apart.
Sing ooh la la.
Beckham now to Owen. Here's another Owen run. He's got to worry them again. This is a great run by Michael Owen. And he might finish it off.
Sing ooh la la.
You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
And it's live.
Good evening. Welcome. I'm back. Yes, I was going to burst into hello, I'm back again. And I realised it was by a certain Mr. Glitter, so it would have probably been totally inappropriate. But did you miss me? Thank you to Doug for standing in for me and looking after you all for the Holland game. Apparently, that was the day that I shouldn't have gone to London because I missed some very good games. But of course, before I went away, I was saying, gimme the World Cup. Then, of course, I felt it slipping through my fingers. And now I guess the winner takes it all. Yeah, I went to see Harbour Voyage, just in case you didn't know. The clues are there. Do you realise how long I've been putting that bit together? Literally about 5 seconds, if I'm honest with you, and you could probably tell. But the quarters are over. England are out. Wales have probably found something else to put a smile on the face other than Dolly the sheep now. So at least they're happy. And, we're going to have to go on a little bit longer. The hurt goes on. But my God, we went down fighting. Look, we're going to look back today because some of us didn't have such a good prediction for the quarterfinals. Now, I'm not saying who it was that didn't have a very good one, but somebody here got 0 predictions right. I've told Jeremy Clarkson to go home and not bother us because I don't want to see that smug face. Wasn't me. Anyway, we'll look back at the quarters, forward to the semis. We all know we'd like a midweek semi. This gentleman certainly does. Doug, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Chris. I'm good, and it was an absolute pleasure to do the watch along on your channel as well. It was a fantastic game of football, and I'm glad you had a very, very good time in London, and it certainly looks like you had a good time in London.
I did indeed. I arrived at Waterloo. And I had a dream that I would come back and we'd still be in the World Cup, and neither of those things happened. You know, they did a lot of songs up, so I can go on and on and on through this. But thank you so much, like I say, for standing in, sir.
You're welcome.
It was very kind of you. Of course, you're on the regular on the channel, so your link is always in the description below. But just remind people where they can find you.
You can find me at the Dugout Football channel on YouTube. You can also find me on Instagram at Douglas.Horn, and you can also find me on Twitter at Enrod_1992.
And you know what? That still now deserves this. Those that know Doug will know why. Talking of which, I can't really describe this guy as a super trooper, but knowing you, knowing me, he's nobody's honey, and I don't really want to take a chance on him. But he's here, I guess. It's the northern ginger. Let's bring him in. Daniel, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. I'm sat down. No more trips out. To be fair, Chris, if you do want to keep an extra song in on their new album, they have a song called "Keep an Eye on Dan." Do have her on their new album.
Is it Dan? Is it
Yeah.
actually Dan?
Yeah, keep an eye on Dan. It says.
Well,
I tend to ignore it.
All I can say is, does your mother know? Because last time
She
I
does.
spoke to her, she didn't.
She does. That's the name of the game, Chris.
It is, and I still don't have faith in you. Anyway,
Oh, he's fired up tonight. He's hot. Don't shut him down.
I am. I've missed Ooh La La. If I could afford it, I would have got an ABBA song to play as the intro. Dan, how can people find you, sir?
Yeah, you can find me at Turf Morehouse TV on YouTube. You can also find us at Turf Morehouse on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So check us out on all those platforms. And again, thanks for having me, Chris. And good to see you again, Doug.
Good to see you guys. Well done.
A bit of man love here. You know.
Let the festivities commence.
Yes. Oh, just remind me of the human caterpillar. Anyway, or was it centipede? I can never remember.
You dick. I just spat brew all over the laptop. You clown. You clown.
Well, you couldn't do that if you were in the middle of the three, could you?
1 second, you arse bandit.
He has as well. We'll come back to it. The first one actually is quite. I don't know if you've seen them at all, Doug.
ABBA, no, I haven't. No.
No, not ABBA. No, the human centipede.
Oh no, I haven't. No.
Dan obviously has.
Oh, I know what it means. What would you rather be, Chris? Front or back?
Front.
Yeah, I think I would as well.
Definitely. I mean, the first one, just a sidetrack for a minute, the first one was actually, you could see the concept of it was quite good. The second one was kind of like maybe taking a little bit too far. And the third one was just, fucking hell, what's going on here? It was absolutely, why am I sitting through this? Although, thinking what it was based on, that actually did follow my Gary Glitter almost intro very, very well. Leicester Edits is in. Good evening, sir. By the way, he said it's me, Leicester fan. Good evening, sir. How are you? New name for the new year. Luke's in. London was absolutely brilliant, mate. It was bloody freezing. And the funny thing was, when I left and I got home, Hannah, who I stayed with, texted me and said, "Did you see the snow?" I went, where? Because I missed it when I left London. It wasn't snowing. It had stopped snowing when I got here, but apparently it had snowed in both places. Nate's in. Good evening, Nate. How are you? Yeah, Winter Wonderland. Loved it. Wasn't exactly what I expected, and that was bloody freezing. But let me just tell you guys. Let me just tell you now. A bit of advice. If you get cold, mulled cider. Oh my God. It is. I'd never had it before, and I didn't like mulled wine, but it was bought for me, so I thought, well, it'd be rude to refuse it. Oh, it is. It is the dog's dangly bits. I take it you're nodding there, Doug. You've had it?
Yeah, I've had mulled cider at the Edinburgh markets. It is lovely especially when it's very, very cold as well. So yeah, I totally agree with what you've just said about mulled cider. It's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it warms the cockles. Have your cockles been warmed by it, Dan?
I have ventured into it once, I think. I'm not sure. I think I was pissed when I tried it. But to be fair, I do like a mulled wine. I'll take a mulled cider. Like I said to you numerous times, if it's got a volume, I'll drink it.
Well, this is true. Terry says back to real league football. And Maddison's not going to come back injured either, is he? We'll come on to that, I'm sure, later. Luke says, hi, Doug.
Hello.
I just want to remind you, it's the Hug Out channel. Best ABBA song, the winner takes it all. Doesn't really apply to us of recent, does it, Terry? Kate is in. Blue Kate is in. Evening, Chris. I enjoyed London and ABBA. Absolutely. Don't start me, otherwise we'll be talking about ABBA for an hour and like the World Cup for about 5 minutes at the end. Oh, the other Kate is in. Kate 1 and Kate 2 are in. Good evening, Kate. How are you? At least you didn't do a David Cameron. You only left your purse at the pub, not a child. So I guess.
Yeah.
And David is in. Yes, I did, mate. It was wonderful. It was spoilt by a game of football that broke out in the middle of the whole weekend. But apart from that, it was really good. Luke said, by the way, you said subtitles were available. They weren't. I'm sorry. If you'd had actually played at a slightly slower speed, you could have probably understood, Doug. But right, gentlemen. Quarterfinals of the World Cup offered so much. He still gave some surprises. And if I'd have said to you, we're going to come on to the individual games, obviously, in a second. But if I'd have said to you on the Thursday before I went that Holland would go out, Brazil would go out, Spain would go out, and England would go out, we wouldn't believe it, would we?
No,
definitely
not
not.
at all.
Don't you mean Portugal?
Who did I
Spain
say?
or I think is it maybe Portugal instead of Spain? Even then, I don't think we would have.
Right. You see, I just couldn't bear thinking about Ronaldo to put it down, but it was Portugal. Yes, you are quite right.
I think if we're being honest, I think nobody probably expected Croatia to get past Brazil.
No.
And I think France, England was definitely 50-50 who would go through there. We'll obviously get on to talk about. I thought England played really, really well against France, and I think they were very, very unlucky to be eliminated as well. But yeah, I think very good for quarterfinals. I think the refereeing was a disgrace in the quarterfinals. I've got to be honest. I think obviously the game I did, there was 17 yellows and 1 red, which is mental. It's not quite the Battle of Nuremberg, Netherlands, Portugal, and Nuremberg, Germany, but it was getting closer to that. It was getting really, really close to that. And I think the refereeing in the England game was a disgrace.
Who was it? Who was the English ref?
Michael Oliver.
Wilton Pampio.
Oh, do you mean the one in the England game? Yeah.
Oh, right. God, yeah. Didn't an England ref do one of the games?
Yeah, Michael Oliver did the Netherlands Argentina.
Oh, was that the one with all the bookings? Did it deserve all those bookings, Dan?
No, Michael Oliver did Croatia Brazil.
Oh yes.
Ah, did he?
The one that did the Netherlands Argentina game was
Spanish referee, wasn't it?
Manuel Lajos, I think is how you say it.
He's the one that's been kept on, hasn't he? I think he. Oh no, he's been sent home. He's been sent home.
The England-France ref has been kept on.
Oh,
How?
Those are the results there. Croatia won, Brazil won 4-2 on pens. Netherlands, Argentina 2-all, 3-4 on pens. I say Doug's game of the tournament, I should say, so far. Morocco, I couldn't believe that. Morocco, I came out of ABBA and my daughter's boyfriend texted and said that was the score, and I'm like, fuck off. You're winding me up. And then, of course, some little team across the river into Europe beat the mighty England. Looking at that first game then, I mean, for me, I'm not going to lie, Croatia, Doug, have got to be the luckiest bastards going, haven't they? To me, they don't deserve to be in the semi-finals of the World Cup. Now, I didn't watch the game, but when you hear that a team that had one shot on goal for 120 minutes of a quarter-final World Cup game, an embarrassment.
I have to say that, first of all, well done, Croatia. Yes, I think they are very, very lucky to go through. But other Brazil were dreadful. I thought they were really, really, really poor. It's not so much about like Brazil being. If I'm being honest, I think Dan will agree with me because he was on a watch along with me when we did Brazil South Korea, and I said then I'm not convinced with this Brazil side because Alisson was by far man of the match in that game, and you know what, I think Brazil haven't really impressed me all tournament. Like they've shown glimpses, but you look at the games that they had, and you know Neymar must frustrate the living daylights out of anybody who has, like, if you're a PSG fan, if you're a Brazil fan, you must be so frustrated with the way that that Neymar plays because holds the ball way too long. Vinicius Junior had a quiet game. Rafinha was poor. Richarlison didn't have a kick. But then you're bringing on Pedro. Like, okay, he's very, very good for Flamengo. Is he good for Brazil? No. You've got Bruno Guimaraes on the bench. He didn't come on. Why? Bruno Guimaraes is a penalty kick taker. He's a set piece taker at Newcastle. He's a set piece taker for Brazil. Tite is now gone. I think it's the right decision because Tite, his tactics were all over the place for me. I just think Brazil. I think they underestimated Croatia. I really do. I think Croatia were okay. They weren't the best going forward, but one attempt, and they've gone on and scored it. But Brazil's penalties were very poor, very, very poor. I mean, Marquinhos hit the post. Rodrigo had one saved by Livakovic as well, but I think Gvardiol and Lovren at the back for Croatia were outstanding in this game. I think we have to be honest. I think we'll probably come on obviously Friday, but for me, Gvardiol is one of the defenders of the tournament for me. I think he has not put a foot wrong. I'd even argue that Lovren, loads of Croatians actually said Dejan Lovren would be the weak link of the defence. He hasn't put a foot wrong for Croatia. He has not put a foot wrong, but I think if you're going on this game alone, yes, Brazil had their chances, but how many can you say were sort of gilt edge, sort of very, very close to going in? Apart from Neymar's mazy wee run, and that was the only thing that he did, I think Croatia defended really, really well.
Are you still with us, Dan?
Yeah, I'm still here.
That was the long answer from Doug. I mean, I get what you're saying, Doug, but Dan, I mean, Croatia, 9 attempts on goal, 20 to Brazil, 1 on target for Croatia, 11 for Brazil. Now, like I say, I didn't watch that, but just watching, just looking at those stats, I expect better from a team that is in the semi-final. I hope they get knocked out. I really do. They don't deserve to be there. And when I put that up on my Twitter at the end of the game, and somebody came on and said, yeah, but they're only a nation of this big and whatever. I don't give a shit how big the nation is. It's about the 26 players that are at the World Cup. And if they win the World Cup by basically defending and having one break, getting an equaliser and going on to win the World Cup, for me, they've devalued the World Cup.
Yeah, they have. I think as well, when it came round to penalties, I think they were quite overly confident as well. When it came to it, they were almost like strutting around like, yeah, we've took them to we're at penalties. It is what it is. I think when Bruno Petkovic got that vital goal in extra time, to take it on to penalties, from that moment, I just thought, you know what, this is going to really ramp Croatia up. And the Croatian keeper, I forgot what he's called. Is it Livakovic?
Livakovic.
Yeah, he was tremendous, absolutely superb. Brazil overconfident, stepped up. They pretty much thought that the game was in the bag, and it's good to see sometimes that smugness does not pay off.
But should parking the bus and hoping to go through on penalties pay off? In that game, Croatia only got into Brazil's final third 19 times.
But that's the thing as well, though, that sometimes you've got to do the dirty work. This is what I say about people that have slandered Burnley over the years, because they've had to sit back You know, they've had to sit back and take all that pressure from the big
10
club.
minutes until you got Burnley in the show. You're slowing down, mate.
But you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's like, "Oh, get away! It's dinosaur football." But then everybody else is saying, "Oh, Croatia, perfect tactic. It worked against Brazil. They've knocked them out, and they've done what they've done." People say it about Atletico Madrid. They set up defensively under Simeone, and apparently, you know, it's amazing.
Don't
But,
take
yeah.
this the wrong way, though, Dan. But I can understand why Sean Dyche played that way. Was with the players that he
Yeah,
had, but you wouldn't expect Pep to play that way. Now, we're not talking about a team that is just hoping to go and maybe win an odd game. We're talking about a team that's in the semi-final of the World Cup, you know. And I just think they are an embarrassment to the World Cup finals.
Who, Croatia?
Yeah.
Well, not. I can see
I mean,
what
if
you
we
mean,
have a
but then
look-
I don't agree to a degree, just because of Brazil are one of the standout favourites to have won the tournament. You know, they were expected to go on, be in the final, potentially win
it's
it.
an upset. I agree, but they almost got through the group by default. They couldn't beat Morocco. Well, that would be lovely to see that again, maybe in the final. I've got to be honest with you. All right, they beat Canada, but then, you know, who didn't? And then, you know, they held a very poor Belgium side, 0-0, that were beaten by Morocco, weren't they, if my memory serves me right? They then put up the fence. I'll come back to you on this one, Doug. They put up the fence against Japan and did exactly the same. And then they did it against Brazil. And, all right, yeah, you're telling me that, you know, well, it's Brazil. You can't expect them to go toe-to-toe. They're supposed to. They last at the last World Cup. They were the second best team in the world when that competition finished because they're the runners up, and they were playing like Rochdale.
Yeah,
and you can say that the goalkeeper was good, yes, because he probably saw more of the ball off his own players. I'm guessing with back passes than off the Brazilians.
I think it's the thing as well. I think you have to say, like, never write off Croatia in a game of football, because you look at these at the moment, and you know, I think as well that I think Croatia have been, you know, barring the Canada game where they looked really, really attacking. Yes, they've had the defend, but this is the thing as well. Would you expect Croatia to go to? If Croatia went toe-to-toe against Brazil, they'd probably get battered. They'd probably get battered about 3 or 4-0. I think the fact that Croatia frustrated Brazil had to, like, how many times did Brazil put the ball into the box, like crosses, right? Because Croatia managed to defend those crosses. Brazil just ran out of ideas. It's as simple as that. The only big thing for them was obviously Neymar's measly wee run and goal. So I think you have to play that way against the big sides if you want to try and go
Japan
through.
A big side?
Yeah, I'd argue. I would argue after this World Cup that they are. You know,
but then the
Japan
scoreline doesn't justify the way that teams set up, though, Chris, either. I mean, that could have been, you know, I can't recall that Japan-Croatia game off the top of my head. You know, they could have gone hell for leather with each other, and it's just one of those games that have filtered out 1-1. How many games have we seen that have finished 0-0, but yet it's been end-to-end, and it's been chances all over the park? You know, sometimes the scoreline doesn't justify it.
That's what I'm saying. One on.
Oh no, for Croatia in terms of it, but this is where your thought process of a manager, I suppose, in a nutshell, has to come in. Where you look at that Brazil side and go, right, where are we the strongest at the moment? We've got to stand strong as a back five, including the keeper. We've got to do our job and soak up that pressure. Croatia throughout this tournament, as you can see from them scorelines, even if you were just to look at it and think, how would you say Croatia have set up? You would say it as a team that have gone on, absorbed the pressure and smash and grab in the dying minutes. That's the sort of tactic they've had to use.
Talking of the Japan-Croatia game, in that game, Croatia had one shot. Oh, no, they didn't. Hang on a second. Let me just update that. Sorry. On that one, they had 16 shots and 4 on target. So at least they kind of made an effort there, you know. But I just think, I mean, to play that way and then hope to get through on penalties. Let's be honest, if England had been Croatia and that had been Southgate, he would have been crucified. He would have been absolutely crucified by, I mean, he's getting shit for no reason off England fans anyway, but he would have been totally crucified, would you not, Dan?
I don't. Yes,
You
I
know he
know.
would. You know
Yeah,
he would.
yes, I
If
know.
England
I
had
think
played
obviously
that way-
a fan base is always split. You know, if he was to have sat back defence, to be fair, I know. You know what? No, I don't think they would have done. I think if we had beaten, I think if we'd have beaten France on penalties, England fans wouldn't have give a shit. But if he played defensively and we still got beat by France, then he'd have had pelters.
But then that's penalties. It could go either way, couldn't it? I can't believe any team in a quarter-final of a World Cup plays for penalties. I mean, I agree with you.
No, that's
Doug,
true.
in the fact
That is
of
true.
Jasko Garvestad. I know I've got his name written down there as my defender of the tournament. I think it's great, but I don't think you can go. Well, you can go through and win it that way, I guess. And like you say, the Croatians won't give a shit if that's how they win it. But I just expected more from a team that at that point was one of the top 8 teams in the world.
Yeah,
But,
look, I think as well that obviously we will come on to the next quarter final as well. But yeah, Box, that's right. No matter how many times Brazil tried to get past Croatia's midfield, like that midfield of Kovacic, Modric, and Brozovic is a very, very good 3 as a midfield. So Argentina are going to have to watch what they do tomorrow, because I think Croatia have got the better midfield than Argentina do.
I can say, let's at the end of the day, it's fans, it's opinions, and we all see games differently. I want to say sorry to the gentleman in the chat. I did just have to get rid of that sex bot, but I'm sure if you look back up, they'll still be there if you want to write the details down. Anthony's in. Thanks very much, Anthony. I had a great time. Terry's in. Modric not playing next game. Too many yellow cards, apparently. Wow. Box is in. Good evening, Box. How are you? Everybody's saying hello to everybody else. Box is saying, is Croatian for the next 2 games? I'm not.
I'm Moroccan.
All that are left, they're at the bottom of my list as who I want to win, I'm afraid.
I'm definitely Moroccan.
Yeah. Croatia have got a great defence with experience. They can win it, we'll see. But they'll win it. No disrespect, Dan. They'll win it the old Burnley way, shall we say, not the new Burnley way.
But that's what football's about, though, isn't it, Chris? You've got to find a way to beat the team in front of you, whether it's defensive or going all out. This is what I'm trying to say. Everybody expects this expansive football to be played by, no matter whether you're non-league, no matter where you are. People are expecting now that should be the way football is played, and it's not, just because the game may have evolved, but tactically, you sometimes have to revert to old tricks. It's like us saying about football. We're like, VAR, get rid of it, go back to just referees. But they're adding VAR, hoping it's going to try and make things better. It hasn't. So sometimes you've got to go back to the old tactics to try and find a way to win.
It's just whether you like those tactics or not. I mean, Wimbledon for ages kept themselves in the top flight and won an FA Cup playing the so-called long ball way. And like I say, their fans...
Oh, shit to watch. Don't get me wrong. I used to hate going to the Burnley games and seeing it. Yeah. Okay, we'd win 1-0 or we'd sneak a 1-0. Great, we get the result. But it was shit to watch. It was horrible to watch. But sometimes, knowing that was the Burnley way at the time, you dug deep and you just accepted it and hoped for the best.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to a game that I believe was a lot better. Doug, very, very kindly, and again, thank you so much, Doug, for hosting this on my channel as well as your own. This was the one I saw. I did pop on, and I think I saw Blue Kate say Chris has picked the wrong day to go down to London. I mean, I'll sit back. I'll give you the floor for the next half hour because it sounds like you could talk for this one. It was the best game of the tournament, you said.
Yeah, by far. First of all, it was a brilliant watch, absolutely brilliant watch. I think Argentina. I have to give Scaloni massive credit here. You know, he actually played a 3-5-2 against this Dutch side who like to play 3-5-2 almost. I think Argentina were good in the fact that they were very, very attacking. You know, obviously Molina gets the first goal. It's a lovely ball from Messi, completely splits his defence. And Molina, great first touch, great second touch in the back of the net. I think as well, I think Messi's penalty was the right decision as well. It was a definite handball from the Dutch player. Messi scores 2-0, and then you're thinking then that it's probably going to be, you know, Argentina going through to the semi-finals, but I don't know what happened, but they just allowed Holland back onto them. And to be fair, I thought Van Gaal's subs were very, very brave. I mean, he brought Luke de Jong on, ex-Newcastle. He brought on Wout Weghorst, obviously still a Burnley player, I think, isn't he, Dan? Yeah, still a Burnley player. And it worked. Whatever was said, it absolutely worked. And I have to be honest as well that, you know, whoever thought of playing a short free kick, that was absolutely genius because it completely fooled the Argentinian players, and Wout Weghorst scores to make it 2-2. And, you know, I got a little bit excited on that game, and obviously people can obviously go and watch it back, but I couldn't believe that it was 2-2. Like going into the 99th minute, 100th minute, I do think, though, the pendulum sort of swinged Argentina's way because I think Argentina were the better side. I thought they were the better side in extra time, if we're being honest. But one thing I have to say, I thought the referee was a disgrace in this game. So many yellow cards, 17 yellow cards. And that wasn't just players. It was like Walter Samuel, Scaloni. I think Van Gaal might have been booked at one point as well.
He even booked Weghorst while he was on the bench prior to the game.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly. He booked Weghorst when he was on the bench as well. But wonderful game of football. Paredes should have been sent off. I don't care what anybody says. Bad tackle and Ake all kicked off then. I think Denzel Dumfries, who I think he was one of the ones that was actually sent off actually after the final whistle because he squared up to Scaloni. That ref has been sent home, thank goodness. But yeah, just a fantastic watch. And I have to say as well that the result in the penalties was actually the same scoreline in 2014 than it was in 2022.
Wow. Did you see this one, Dan?
Yeah. I saw back end of it
there, and I think I saw this because I was actually on the coach when this was going on, and I was watching something on the BBC iPlayer. I thought, I didn't realise I could watch the match on the iPlayer, and then my battery was going, and I thought at 2-1 to Argentina, I thought, they're through. I did see that moment where booting the ball at the Dutch bench. Do you think I didn't obviously only very quickly saw it. Should he have been sent off for that, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if he's not sent off for the challenge in the first place, his studs are sort of showing. They're sort of showing a little bit. There was, to be fair, there were a good few full-blooded challengers in that like sort of 5-10 minute spell. You know, they were kicking lumps of shit out of each other. The referee had just lost the game completely. Argentina were trying everything when it got to 2-1. They were just playing dirty all over. So when he's put in the challenge, got up and then just booted the ball at the bench, one, he should be yellow carded for the foul. Two, then obviously for booting it and trying to basically, cause a bit of a shitstorm. So, yeah, Paredes should have definitely been sent off for me.
Yeah. Penalties, 4-2, 4-3 on penalties. Sounds like it was one of the better shootouts.
It was, yeah. It was for me. I mean, obviously, I think Van Dijk missed, as did Berghuis. I think I can't remember who missed for Enzo Fernandez missed for Argentina. But yeah, apart from those misses, the penalties were very, very good.
I think it says there, doesn't it? And I should have gone to Specsavers. The penalty shootout, Paredes and Mendes, I think, got the goals for them. I'm not sure how they are doing that. But anyway, right team going through, gentlemen?
That's tough to say.
Just about, I would say. But I want to bring up something that has really been annoying me for a wee while.
Dan,
Neymar.
I know, but I'm sorry. I'm contractually obliged to have him in. I'm sorry, Doug. But, yeah.
Neymar for Brazil waited until the 5th penalty to take his penalty, and he didn't get to do it because Marquinhos missed. Messi knew what he was doing. He scored the 3rd. He was basically the 3rd penalty taker. He was always going to score because I think is one thing. I do not like players who wait until the 5th penalty to basically either see their team lose or basically have the glory to themselves. Look, Sadio Mane did it for Senegal. I can understand that. Salah waited until the 5th penalty for Egypt. If you're a designated penalty kick taker, you should be one of the first ones to take a penalty.
100%.
I agree with that. But then when you look at England against Italy, and everybody was saying that Saka should not have been taking that 5th and decisive penalty. I've always said if you're old enough to play in the game, you're old enough and big enough to take a penalty if you're big enough to play in the final. With that one, Southgate took the best 5 penalty players from practicing, and the guy that scored the most went first. Now, and I agree with you, Doug, because you cannot leave Harry Kane until 5th to take your penalty because you could be out by then. And we'll come on to obviously his penalty against, France later. But you've got to have, like you say, your best players that should be going first. Gareth Southgate shouldn't have taken that penalty for England in the Euros that time. He's a defender, for God's sake. Not many defenders. I mean, there's a few penalties. So, yeah, I agree with you totally. Surely you've got to be getting... But again, isn't that the manager should be saying, right, you're first?
Yeah.
Or do you go with the fact of, well, there's no point me saying you're first because if you're not feeling it, you're going to miss it.
The thing is, I think a manager should turn around and say, right, whose head's not in it, who doesn't want to step up and take a penalty, and then if they say, right, we don't, we'll be like, right, you stand to the side a little moment, and then sort of you've got that pick of that bunch. That way, you as the manager, not the players deciding who goes where and what's what. At least then you can say, look, he missed a penalty. It was on my shoulders. I told him that he was going first. Not the players shouldn't really pick. Sometimes these players sit out, and someone will go, oh, I'll go first, I'll go second, I'll go third, and then there'll be one player that's really hesitant to stick his name in the hat. But then when it comes down to like the 4th or 5th, go, oh well, yeah, I'll take one then, I suppose. Sometimes it can be a bit like that. Like I say, it's a lottery for a reason, and for me, it should be down to the manager to pick the 5 best penalty takers, like you said. There's
been a lot wrong. Not wrong. There's been a lot that hasn't been brilliant in this World Cup, and we're doing a review on Friday. Doug's going to join me. Steve Lynix, the ex-Leicester player, is going to be giving a player's point of view on some of the points. And come back to you first of all with this one, Doug. The penalties have been absolutely awful.
Yeah, they have. I don't know if it's something to do with the pitches. I don't know if it's something to do with the ball or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, the penalty shootouts that I've watched, like Japan's penalties against Croatia were poor. Spain's ones against Morocco were really poor. I thought Brazil's ones against Croatia were really poor as well. So it's getting to a stage now where basically if it is a penalty shootout, it's really 50-50 at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, I covered the Morocco-Spain game, and I've still had not thrown it out yet, and I've got it here for the Spanish penalties. Hit the post, awful, and poor. I was there 3 penalties. None of them went in. Now, is it wrong that I am looking at this and saying that because it's Spain and because of how good they are in the history that they've got, that they should be scoring these? I suppose that doesn't really work with penalties, does it?
No, it's how you feel, the intimidation of the fans behind the goal. You know, whether your confidence is there, whether you might be pissed off about an incident throughout the game. You know, I've played football, not at a professional level, but sometimes you walk off a pitch because you've missed an opportunity that you feel you should have probably done better with or scored, and that's stuck with you for 90 minutes in your head.
Yeah.
And then when you get to that penalty shootout and you're thinking, right, well, I've got another opportunity, sometimes your arse falls out. And that's another thing. It's a case of it's a lottery. It's a 50-50 opportunity. Someone's got to win it. And at the end of the day, luck wasn't in for Spain.
There's been a lot said about Harry Kane's penalty miss, and like I said, we are going to come on it later. The one thing I didn't hear any of the commentators say, well, that's Harry Kane, his arse has just fallen out. But I do get what you mean. Argentina, Doug, I mean, you know, they lost the first game against Saudi Arabia. They beat a very, very poor Mexican side, and they beat a very, very poor Poland side. I mean, really, it was probably the easiest group to get out of, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they made hard work for themselves, obviously, with that Saudi Arabia game. But yeah, they breezed through like Mexico and they breezed through Poland as well. But Australia gave them problems. Like, did give them problems. And I think Holland, Argentina, we knew about this game being like one of the best sort of quarterfinal matchups as well, because of the history between the two sides. But yeah, I mean, they've scored 2 in every, well, apart from obviously the Saudi Arabian game, but they've scored 2 in like 4 matches as well. But it's Argentina for me. I think the fullbacks of Acuna and Molina have been very, very poor. Acuna is suspended for the game tomorrow, so obviously Tagliafico will come in. I'm not sure Molina's suspended because he obviously got a yellow card. I think Montiel may have got a yellow card, so we do have a bit of a problem at the fullback positions. But for me, Argentina need to be careful. They need to not underestimate Croatia. Because actually the last meeting that they actually had was the 2018 World Cup in Russia, and Croatia beat them 3-0 as well.
Dan, I mean, Weghorst is a goal machine, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's like they said at full time. They said, "Do you think Burnley will be happy without Weghorst?" And Rio Ferdinand said, "I don't think they will, because I think they only got to see his brother." So he had a little bit of a dig in there, but it was well worked. It was well worked. Can't fault him. And just to sly it in as well, Besiktas today actually came to Burnley and said, "Can we lower the fee to sign him permanently?" Even though there was an agreed 10 million euro valuation, and Burnley just went, "Ha! After scoring 2 goals in a World Cup quarter final, no."
Let's just add another 2 million onto the price, shall we?
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was a well-worked free kick in that dying minutes as well. It's something that's been done when Weghorst was at Wolfsburg. He did it there as well. He stood tall in the wall, took a touch and scored from it. Very similar. So he did great with it. I actually wanted, from Holland getting back into it, I wanted the Netherlands to actually go on and win it, but que sera.
Indeed. Doug, the big shock. I don't know what was more of the shock that you actually were the only one of the 3 of us that went for Morocco, or the fact that Morocco actually won it. But no, full credit to them. They have been saying for I don't know how many World Cups now that we're going to see an African country win it. We never have done. Is this the World Cup when we will?
It could potentially be. Morocco are only 1 game away from the World Cup final in they fully deserve it. I mean, they've, they haven't played the most exciting football, but what they have done is when they have actually attacked, they look really lethal going forward. I mean, Nesri, that obviously scored the goal against Portugal, and I have to say the defending from Portugal for that goal is laughable. Ruben Diaz allows him to literally, like, he's basically watching the ball come over his head, and basically Ruben Diaz is basically watching the ball come over his head. Costa comes out, goes in absolutely no man's land, and basically all Nezri has to basically do is head into an empty net. Like, it was really poor defending. But how many? I'm going to say this: like, how many crosses did Portugal play into Morocco's box? Because I counted about 15, 20, 25 crosses into the box, and every time Morocco were just defending. Like every time Portugal put the ball into the box, it was cross. Every time there was a header from Morocco, but I think Morocco kept Goncalo Ramos quiet after his hat trick against Switzerland. I think as well, I think Morocco were very, very good. Bono has been fantastic in goal for Morocco. He's only conceded one goal, and that was a really bad, unlucky own goal, I should say, from one of the Morocco players. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful story to see Morocco into the semi-finals. First African nation to do it, and they thoroughly deserved it. Portugal could have played about 120 minutes, maybe 180 minutes, and I still don't think they would have scored. And it's so nice to see them out. It's so nice to see after the game, Pepe and Bruno Fernandes, who likes to moan for likes to moan for Manchester United, likes to moan for Portugal, basically saying why can an Argentinian ref basically manage this game? Basically, they basically got Argentina to win the whole thing or something like that. So, it's sour grapes, unfortunately, but it's what they deserve, because it's Portugal, like for me, were poor in that game.
Is probably going to be, if not, he could well be the goalkeeper of the tournament, and he had me on the edge of my seat for this whole game.
Brilliant. Oh.
Oh, I love that. There's always a delayed reaction with Doug. I love it. We got through so many of those in the competition, but I'm going to have to give myself this. Doug, you were right though. 8 crosses from Morocco, 33 crosses from Portugal.
Yeah, and as I said, most of those crosses were being defended by Morocco players. Nah, to be honest, I'm so happy for Morocco as well. It's just nice to see a bit of an underdog sort of story that's dominated this World Cup, and I think Morocco have been fabulous, and they've looked really difficult. Like, they've not been behind in this tournament yet as well. So that's if they do go behind against France, then we'll see what they're made of. But just now they have been absolutely fabulous in this tournament, and they deserve to be in the semi-finals.
33 crosses, only of which only 7 were completed. Dan, I think from a Liverpool and Leicester perspective, you're the only one with any club interest left in this World Cup, aren't you?
Yeah. Obviously, Anas Sarori is part of the Morocco squad. We're hoping and praying that he's not had any game time yet. To be fair, he was a late call up due to an injury in the setup. So fingers crossed we do get to see him at some point. But since his call up, I have been rooting for Morocco as well throughout. They've done really, really well, as you can see there. The draw against Croatia, a 2-0 win over Belgium, 2-1 win over Canada. But again, like you said, Chris, who hasn't beaten Canada? Sorry, Mel. The win on pens against Spain and beating Portugal. The thing is, with that Portugal game as well, sometimes, when they went 1-0 up so early, I thought, right, how are they going to set up? Are they going to literally park the bus? Is it going to be where they're going to have to still just keep doing what they're doing, try and carve opportunities against Portugal, and they did. They did, to be fair. Portugal looked a little lost for me, and it was only in the dying few minutes where they decided to pull their finger out and think, right, oh crap, we've not got much time left. There's a job to do. But Morocco stood tall, did the job, and hopefully we'll see our star boy back at the turf soon, strutting his stuff.
You never know. I mean, Dan. I mean, we all love a underdog story. I know that bigger than more than most people supporting Leicester, but I mean, they deserve to be there. I'd say out of the 4 teams the only team out of the 4 that left in it that haven't been beaten. When you look at that, they got a draw with Croatia, which at the start of the tournament we thought, bloody hell, that's good. We didn't realise Croatia. Yes, they're there, but they're still poor. Same with Belgium. We didn't know how bad they were going to be, but they got a 2-0 win there. And like Dan said, okay, it was Canada. They got the penalties against Spain, but they said, we don't need penalties against Portugal. To me, they are the one team that really deserve to be there. And come on, Morocco.
100%. Viva Morocco, all the way.
Doug, do you agree?
Yeah, 100% agree. I just wish them well now for the rest of the tournament. If they get to the final, then fabulous. But they could easily finish third, and to finish third in the World Cup would just be brilliant for them. And I think as well that is a win for African football. The whole of African football, I would have to say as well.
What I think we have to realise is that the top European and the top South American teams have been good for obviously years and years and years. You could argue that they couldn't necessarily get any better, but what is now happening is that teams like Morocco, Senegal, they are catching up. And when you look at how many African players, Doug, are actually playing for the top European teams, it just shows that they're nobody's sort of they're not there to make the numbers up anymore.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at obviously I know that I know in Mwepu, I think the Brighton midfielder, I think he's had to obviously retire, but you've got Daka for Leicester, obviously Zambia. Zambia might make a World Cup because I think is it 2026 that you've got? I think it's because of 48 teams. I think a 48 team World Cup,
and I think you got a round of 32 before the round of 16.
Yeah. So again, it's more games, but it's more sort of chance for the I think there's going to be 9 African teams potentially at this next World Cup. So big opportunity for them.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you for watching. That's all the games we're going to cover because there's no other games of any significance played this weekend at all. And we will be back tomorrow with the watch along. No, I'm sorry, Dan, but we're going to have to do it. To my mind, I thought we played bloody well, to be honest with you. I think we kept, you wouldn't look at that and know who was the world champions. But we go out, for me, with our head held high. We outplayed them. The French defending players have accepted that. Obviously, a penalty. It's always going to be a penalty in one form or another. We kept Mbappe quiet. Didn't even know he was on the pitch. Walker did a fantastic job there. The only complaint I've got really is that the substitutions were a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't understand why he took Saka off. Saka, for me, were having one of the games of his life, apart from getting on the score sheet. Yeah. He was up and down that line, trying to carve open opportunities, creating space for the players to run into. So that were a strange one for me. Grealish with about 2 minutes to spare. Why? I mean, if you're going to do it with about 10, 15 minutes to spare so he can get a bit of a run at the French defence. But there's no fault in that French first goal, no matter what. It was well taken. You can't fault it. No keeper would have got it. It was curling away from the keeper. It's literally Pickford couldn't get an hand to it at all. Great finish from range. Kane's penalty, as I say, it was definitely a pen. There was even obviously talks of the pen situation. not long before that as well, when it was on the line, where they said no pen, but it was a definite foul. So I don't understand why it wasn't pulled back
Should
for
have been
anything.
a free kick, I think.
Yeah,
at
I think if
least.
it's reviewed for a penalty, though, they can't pull it back for a free kick. I'm not entirely sure. I think that might be the rule
I
with
think that's
VAR.
the case. I believe that is the case.
But yeah, we got the second. We got the second pen in the end, which again was deserved. I think France were a little bit lackluster with what they were doing, and as soon as we got it, and I know I've said it to you off camera and said it to you earlier, but I just had this horrible gut feeling that it wasn't going to go right. I literally turned around and buried my head in a pillow and said, "This ain't going to happen. We're going to miss this." And kids were like, "What you doing? What you doing?" And then I just hear Kate going, "He scarred it. He scarred it. He sent it over." And I said, "I knew." And I went from, I knew, I fucking knew, ranting and raving at that point. But we were the better team, 100% the better team. Didn't deserve to go out. Shoddy defending for their second goal, to be fair. Giroud did well to get in front of John Stones. And I think it took a nick off Harry Maguire, actually. Which sent it a little bit, sent Pickford having to make a little bit of a split decision call. But you feel aggrieved that you were so close to at least getting extra time, at least trying to kill the game off, because we were so strong. And for those calling Southgate out, I'm a little bit embarrassed at that. Yes, with the Nations League stuff, we were poor. Maybe it was a case of his changed tactic because of all the doubters saying that defensive this, defensive that. He's tried to play a bit expansive. We've seen it in this World Cup where we've been expansive and trying to carve opportunities. And sometimes you have to be patient in the build-up to that. But we have done. And the big question we have here, Chris, is should Kane have stepped up for 2 penalties against, his club keeper?
Let's ask Doug that, because I'm looking at watching that, and I was very much hiding under the throw as well, and I just think when you're playing against your club goalkeeper, he knows that Kane normally goes with, or what Kane's going to do with a penalty. He'd already guessed right, but didn't get to it for the first one. Kane had to do something else, but it had to be Kane, didn't it? Because if Kane hadn't taken it and somebody else had stood up and missed it, Kane would have got probably more abuse than he's getting now. And Southgate.
Yeah. I don't know who. What's his name? I mean, I tweeted this prick. Someone Graham who's on Talk. I don't know what it is. Talk
Graham?
TV or
Graham?
Mike Graham. What a prick he is! Like, he's basically said, "Oh, Kane's done this, Kane's done that. Oh, it's basically all on Harry Kane." Why do you try and step up on a pressure situation like that and try and score 2 penalties? Then you can talk, and basically you could shove your concrete up your bloody arse, whatever you.
There was England fans doing it as well, though, Doug. On the news later on, it was showing them interviewing some England fans after the game. Some of them were like, "We were the better team." One of his mates went, "Nah, I totally disagree. It was shocking, Southgate out." Someone then said, "Kane should hang his boots up." I'm like, am I really hearing all this after the way we've just played against the reigning champions? Why are you paying money to fly out if that's your mentality?
Though, Dan, that it is an immediate response to the result that they've just seen.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's raw, isn't it?
But Doug, would you have expected anybody else to take that penalty?
No, 100%. No, definitely not. Kane is the designated penalty kick taker, so yes, he's the penalty kick taker. As much as obviously, in one way, obviously you guys are out, but I look at it sort of differently. I think England played really, really well. I think that's the best you played against a top 10 side for a long, long time. I do think that there were some decisions in that game where you're like, well, what some you get, some you don't. You know, they even up throughout the tournament, don't they? I think the second penalty is a penalty. I don't know what Theo Hernandez is doing. He's basically come in and basically tried to, I don't know, elbow Mason Mount. Basically, that was a penalty. The one that wasn't given, again, you could probably argue that was probably a free kick outside the box, because this contact obviously started, outside it. The penalty you definitely got was a definite penalty. I think Tchouaméni challenged, Saka, but this is the thing with Southgate, and he always gets criticised. His subs, sometimes it just baffles me. Why you're taking Saka off when it should have been Phil Foden? Phil Foden had a dreadful game. He was really poor. Saka was arguably the best player on the pitch. Didn't understand the Sterling substitution. Yes, I know I think he's travelled back from, London, obviously with what was happened, and obviously hope he's okay and all that, as well. But why not give it a go? Why not bring Wilson on, Maddison on, Grealish on? Why don't you just bring those three on? Give it a go. Have a go. Don't try and sit back and allow them onto you. But England played brilliantly against France. I think France were a little bit fortunate to win that game. But Giroud does what Giroud does best, and that's obviously head. That's probably the first.
Was that first French goal? Was that a penalty? Was that a free kick at the start when there was a foul on Saka?
No, it should have been a foul.
In the build-up, yeah.
Should have been a foul. I've no idea why it wasn't given. But then people would say, Saka should have, stayed on his feet. But yeah, it is a foul. It is a foul. You have to say it's a great finish from Tchouaméni. And I agree. I don't think any keeper saves that. But the power, the ferocity that's gone through into the back of the net. But I think that's a chance you'll be looking them back on in a couple of years and thinking that was the one that got away from us.
Yeah.
Because Morocco, semi-finals, if you had won this game, I would probably argue you'd probably been the favourite to potentially go on and win the tournament. Because Croatia
we're going to look at the semi-finals sort of next after this. But Dan, and I'm not going to sit here, Dan, and blow smoke up Southgate, up Maddison's arse. He wasn't brought on, and we have to accept that managers don't like some players. We will sit here at Leicester and go, why the hell isn't Iheanacho starting with Vardy? Why are we playing two up front? Managers, while that manager is in situ, he decides who his best 11 are. You could call it best 11. Others would call it favourite. So I'm not going to say Maddison should have come on, because there's everybody saying, they should have had him on. He was the best midfielder. He'd have got that free kick. Bollocks. There's no way we know if he would have got that free kick at the end. Rashford took it. He was close. He'd got one before. I agree with Rashford. I don't get why he left it so long for bringing bringing Grealish on. Sterling, surely he's fucking knackered. He's been in the air most of the time.
Yeah. No, I couldn't have put it any better. I think you look at some of the players that come on, or Foden, like Doug said, shocker. It was only about the 51st minute that I think he had two or three sort of involvements where even the commentator said England have finally got Phil Foden involved in the game. And as soon as he said that, he went back to what he started as, which was shite. I think as well, you give somebody like Maddison, who's literally fought tooth and nail for his chance, to come on in that game. It's a bit like when you risk putting with Leicester, or yourself, Doug, with the likes of Harvey Elliott or Fabio Carvalho, yourself with with Dewsbury Hall in the middle of the park. These youngsters that you've had at your club, and you give them that sniff at first team football, and all of a sudden they play out their skin because they want to prove a point. Maddison would have gone out there and proved a point. Grealish coming on, winning those nippy fouls, especially against the France, who were just trying to do anything and everything as soon as England came forward. If it meant that they pulled your shirt, they pulled your shirt. If it meant they'd snap your ankle, they'd snap your ankle. Anything they were going to do, they was going to do. Why that didn't happen, I do not know, and that's the only question I'd want to ask Southgate. Not, listen, we were the better team. The way we set up was brilliant, but why? Why, when you have got young, hungry players who would literally die for that fucking shirt, not some of the players that actually played and had a bit of a nightmare, why did you not bring them on?
Yeah. Bookline, good evening, good morning, good day, whatever it is over there in America. Welcome along. Not seen you for a while, mate. I hope you are well and have I know America went out quite early, but I hope you were enjoying the World Cup. Southgate showed he's not changed when he brought on Mount and Sterling. These guys can't create goals for clubs as for country. Even if you don't put on Maddison, give Rashford 40 minutes, what we were just saying. Yeah, he's been on a jet aeroplane and he goes on for 30 minutes. Anthony says, Doug, he says, is this Southgate's last? Why should it be? I mean, yes, we've had a very poor Nations League, but he's got us to a European Cup final. He's got us to fourth in the world at the last World Cups. He got us to a third in the world in the Nations League before this last one. We've just got us to a quarterfinals, which is as much as anybody else had got us to, and nobody else had taken us bar Bobby Robson. And we've gone out to the world champions. We haven't gone out at the group stage like Germany, like Spain. We didn't get knocked out by, probably a couple of 100-1 outsiders in Morocco, like Portugal. Really, I don't think we've got anything to be ashamed of. It was the world champions we went out. We matched them toe for toe for that game. I don't see why Southgate should go.
No. I think as well that I would be surprised if he decided to go. I think he's still got a lot to show. If he does go, then I think England fans should just be thankful for what he did as well. But is he likely to go? Here's the thing.
In fairness, he's only got one more tournament, which is the next Euros.
Yeah. So maybe stick around for the Euros and then see after that. But I would be amazed if he decided to step down. I would be amazed. But we'll obviously have to wait and see what happens in the next couple of days. I think he's going to go away and obviously consider his future. But we'll see what happens. But for me, I would carry on if I was Southgate.
Dan, he shouldn't go, should he?
Not for me. I think he's got at least the USA World Cup as well to get through. I think then we judge him. I know obviously the contract I think runs till the end of 2024.
I don't think he's got the next World Cup in his contract.
No, but I do think review the situation near the end. I like he said if he feels that he's the problem, he will step away.
Yeah.
The players came out during this World Cup tournament and backed Southgate. They were coming out in interviews saying, people made out in the press during the Nations League that we weren't bothered for the manager. We weren't with him. We didn't believe in him. But we do. We believe in everything that we're trying to achieve. And it's just that in the Nations League, we got the fine margins wrong. And that's where, we took the hit. But it was about getting those wrongs and making them right in this World Cup. And to be fair, a few people have said we'd be very happy if we get to the quarterfinals. We've been knocked out by the reigning champions. Yeah. We should be proud.
I mean, it says here on the BBC, England are in a better place than we were after the 2018 World Cup. I just don't know. What would people be saying if we'd bought on Maddison and we'd bought on Grealish? Grealish came on, obviously, but earlier, and we'd still lost 2-1, and we hadn't got that corner. We'd missed the penalty, and Maddison had missed the penalty. What would people be saying then? I do honestly think that England fans, and I'm an England fan, but we've got this opinion of ourselves that we have got a godforsaken right when it comes to every cup to win it. And I know we have the it's coming home, but that's part of the build-up and part of the fun. And, we sing that when and it's only people it seems to upset this time are the Welsh fans. But, I just think, we didn't lose to a Saudi Arabia. We didn't get knocked out by Morocco. We didn't go home at the club stages. What do people really, really expect? I just think to all England fans, get off your high horse and be grateful for what we've had. Because I'll tell you something, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not on this, Dan. If we'd have had Big Sam in charge still, we would not have had the success we've had under Southgate.
No, I do agree. Because I don't think Big Sam would have got the full potential out of some of these players. So, no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And France, Doug, deservedly, they've not lost, 1-1 drawn. Oh, no, sorry, they did lose. Sorry, I copied the wrong one over. They lost to Tunisia. You can't really read an awful lot into that, can you? Because it was sort of the last game and they were through anyway.
Yeah, I think everyone's been sort of surprised by France actually. Like how actually, they've actually breezed sort of through this tournament. I mean, against Australia had chances. Let's be honest, Australia did have chances. Denmark were all right against them. They weren't great. Tunisia played really well against France. Poland. They breezed past Poland, and then they rode their luck a little bit. I think Lloris made a fantastic save from Bellingham. I must say as well, Bellingham. I really liked what he did when Harry Kane missed that penalty. He basically went up to him and said, "Oh, don't worry. You've not let the country down. That's a pressure situation, and that man is a captain in waiting, Jude Bellingham. I think he has been fabulous at the whole tournament.
I think he has. And I've got to say a shout out as well to Pickford, because at the end, when Harry Kane was on his knees, he actually almost pushed the cameraman out the way and told him where to get off.
I do the same when I'm on a back street and Kate's on her knees and police come round corner with camera. Can you back away, please? I want a bit of privacy.
Well, you would. Talking of Dan, Wednesday the 21st of December, a week on Wednesday, it is our Christmas quiz. These two guys are here, Doug and Dan. We've also got Reese, and hopefully, if his computer's working, we will have Carl as well.
Will we need pen and paper for this, Chris?
Well, not unless you can go to the toilet and work something out. No.
No, I didn't know whether there'd be any A, B, or C questions.
No. Well, no. You just it'll be straight answers. Bring some drink, guys. Bring some silly hats, silly shirts. I expect you to be wearing one of your Christmas jumpers, Doug. And we're just going to get silly. We're just going to get totally silly and have a break from football altogether. So will be lots of questions about Scotland because it's not about football. Sorry. I had to get one in. Look, before we actually come on to the semis, Anthony said this about Ben White going home. We had a falling out now with the management, and he said he pooed in a sports bag. And that one I haven't heard. But to me, I know he's an Arsenal player, Anthony, but to me, if he shows disrespect to one of the coaching members of staff in front of other people, then, on your bike, go home. You don't deserve to be there. Doug, would you agree?
Yeah, as they say, shit happens.
Yay! Bum. Dan?
Happens quite a lot, this shitting while England are away, doesn't it? If you remember, Gaza shitting on David Seaman's veranda at a World Cup once as well, and Seaman not realising it were there till the morning after.
Is that all we take away from these World Cups as fans? Which players of shitting other people's belongings? But I'm sorry, no, to me, he's there. If he can't take criticism, who the hell does he think he is? Pre-Arsenal, he was only at Brighton. Now he got what he deserved if he was arguing. In my mind, I'm sorry. But we shall see. Anthony says, what is the winning prize for the winner of the quiz, Chris? Apparently, it is a ticket to go and watch an Arsenal game. And apparently, the runner-up is 2 tickets to go and watch an Arsenal game.
I've heard, Chris, it's a cup of fuck all.
You know what? I actually did because I was in London, and you know what? I went and bought. So I was gonna treat because my future son-in-law is a Arsenal fan. And I thought, you know what? I'll treat him, and I bought him a ticket to go and watch the game because it's really expensive. Left it on my dashboard. Fucking car got broken into, and some bastard left another ticket. I couldn't believe it. Hello, Ant. How are you? Welcome along. Oh, it's good to have football back. Proper football. Right, we're going to be back straight after this with... I like that joke. I do like that joke. We will be back straight after this with the semi-finals. Do you fancy a semi, guys?
Love one.
Merry Christmas!
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
And this is your host, Chris.
No! God, please, no! No!
I know, I'm sorry, but he's cheap and available.
How rude.
Indeed, how very, very rude. Before we get into the semi-finals, though, we're going to have a look back at how we did. Unfortunately, we're going to have a look back at how we did in the quarterfinals and our predictions. Yeah, that's what it was like at the end of the round of 16. Dan, he had 18 points, just 1 point ahead of Doug, who had 17, and I was on 22.
I don't know, it's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
Now, I'll take the smug looks now because it doesn't get any better than that for me. I had an absolute mare on these next predictions. So here we go. Yes. Dan, we'll come to you first for the first one because you went for Netherlands.
Yeah. There's just something about Louis van Gaal's team that sort of stood out for me during this tournament. Argentina, like Doug said earlier, haven't really looked the best. You know, they've literally scraped through games, and that was my thought process anyway. And you know, when it got back to 2-2, I thought, oh, brilliant. No, because the first half they were poor. It was really, really poor. So to get back to 2-2, I thought that momentum will carry them through. But again, going back to what Doug said, Argentina were a lot stronger in extra time, knowing they had another half an hour to turn the tire, and penalties just the look of the draw.
Yes, indeed. Doug, we was never in doubt for us, was it?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, I think when it's like 2-0 Argentina, I don't think anyone's probably expecting them to, lose a 2-goal lead. But it was actually a very, very close encounter and could have gone either way in the penalty shootouts. But I think in the end, I think probably Argentina just about deserved it.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I mean, you got the first one wrong, but there's always the second one. Brazil. We were all on the head with this one, weren't we? We got this one totally wrong, didn't we all?
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at the way Brazil have played, especially recently, they sort of found another level. Croatia managed to match that, and fair play to them in the end. But as you say, we all thought Brazil So we can't, we're all wrong. We're all in the same boat. We're all up shit creek without a paddle, as some people would say.
Indeed. Some of us more than others, Dan.
Sorry, Ben White, if you're watching.
Yeah, I mean, I could not see Brazil losing this. As you know, Croatia are my favourite team of the tournament. And can I just say, out of the three of us, I was the only one that said Brazil would win the World Cup. Although I did change my mind after all the samba dancing, but there we go. But yeah, none of us kind of came good on that. Now, we've got to say, let's give Doug his moment here. Because, Dan, you and me thought, as much as I hated Portugal and I hate Ronaldo, I thought this was going to be one step too far for Morocco. But, oh, no. Doug, obviously, being a Scottish fan, he likes an underdog. Well, he has to, really. He doesn't think Scotland and ever anything else.
See, that's my problem. I prefer an hot dog. Greedy bastard.
We can see when you stand up, mate, and you get to see your waistline.
I've been preparing for my Santa suit.
Doug, Morocco. What made you go? I mean, you got it right. You got it spot on. They didn't need penalties. They did it in normal time. You got it right. What did you see in them?
I just basically saw what they've done the whole tournament, and that's be very, very good defensively, and when they get a chance, they usually take it, and it was a very, very good finish from Nesri, and again, as I said, it was very, very poor defending from Ruben Diaz and poor goalkeeping, but I think apart from obviously like Ronaldo having like a shot, and that stat of Ronaldo not scoring in 8 knockout games in the World Cup is absolutely mind blowing, but it's obviously true. Portugal didn't really threaten Morocco much, so yeah, I just had a funny feeling that history was there to be made, and I'm very, very happy that I got that right.
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether this is the real Doron Tour or whether this is his new, because he has got a stalker, so it could be Doron Tour 2. Having said that, both of them talk as much shit as each other. He does say Burnley are going to replace Leicester in the Premier League. I think it's yourselves, Dor, that are in the bottom 3 at the moment. Yes, you are. God. Who'd have thought? Nottingham Forest. They buy enough players to put 2 first teams out, and they still can't get many victories.
Up your well, Dor.
Sorry?
I was just saying up your well to Dor.
Oh, I hope he's not. He's a Nottingham Forest fan. No, mate, I do. I hope you all well.
Did I hear I hope he's not? Then is that what I heard?
Not. Well, you can count on me to say that, can't you?
Hey, but
Indeed. Portugal. Where did it go wrong, Dan? For us.
To be fair, I weren't far off joining Doug with Morocco. I did say in that, if you look back in that last video, that for me, I've backed Morocco to the high heavens, but I just thought that this was going to be a game too far for them. That said, they went, shut up, you ginger dick, and proved me wrong. That and the fact when you look at their logo there, Morocco's logo, it looks like the top of an Estrella bottle. That's a win-win to begin with. But Portugal, yeah, they did all they needed to do the game before, scored all the goals, and obviously dried up in the next fixture. And can't say much fairer than that. Morocco deserved it.
Yeah. It has just come in. It is what? I don't know. But he says Arabs are emotional. If Morocco receive first goal, they lose the game. Yeah. Tell me, how did that work against Portugal? I think you'll find you just shot yourself in the foot with that one game there. Oh, now you're getting political. You're going to have a timeout, mate. I'm sorry. We don't get political in here. England, France. Let's just forget that. We all said England. Even the Scotsman. Feeling a bit silly now, Doug. You should have gone with the 99% of the other of your countrymen. But we were unlucky, weren't we? We were.
I just think that game was 50-50. I think if you look at the other games, I think many people would have probably predicted, Netherlands, Argentina to be probably Argentina's way. Many people would probably predicted Brazil to win. Many people would probably predict, Portugal to beat Morocco. But this one, I think, was the more 50-50 game that I think people would have said, anyone could have gone through. But I think England were unlucky. I think they're unlucky to be going home. And next World Cup, there's going to be players who are actually going to be in their prime, like Bellingham will be in their prime, Foden, Mount. There's going to be some very, very good players that are going to be in their prime there. So I think,
if Saka isn't yet in his prime, good God, when he gets into his prime, because he's a bloody good player now.
He's fabulous. He is absolutely fabulous. And again, it was the wrong substitution to make at that time. It should have been Foden that came off, not Saka.
Dan, when you look at those, okay, Argentina. Well, you didn't, but most people would have thought they would have got through. So out of the three losses there, Brazil, Portugal, and England, you've probably got to say that the England one was the least surprising.
Yeah.
Grasping at straws here, aren't I? I really am.
Yeah, just a tad. However, I'm looking at the table and thinking this is just typical. Me last.
Well, can I just say, Dan, congratulations on the first double of the World Cup in the Prediction League, because I believe it was Group H that you didn't actually get a point in.
Yeah.
And you've done it again now in the quarterfinals. So it's impressive.
It is just how wrong I can be. I think.
Can I just say
I'm hoping Kate's asleep when I say all this, because during the relationship, I'm very much right in a lot of situations. But
you could say
I don't believe it.
The problem is, having seen you in your Prediction League last season, I do. And that is the problem. Doug may have been bottom, but at least he's never gone a whole group without getting a point. But Dan, hey, consistency, that's what we like.
Exactly.
We are now going to call you Daniel Croatia Morehouse, because if you don't finish bottom, you'll be fucking luckier than Croatia have been in the World Cup. So, how does it look at the moment, everybody? What's the scores on the doors? I hear you shouting. No, I don't. I'll try that again. What are the scores on the doors? I hear you shouting.
Fixed. That's what they fucking are. Now get on with
it. Oh, God, don't you love a sore loser? Well, let's have a look there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look. He was second for a while, but then why spoil the habit of a lifetime? And he is now in bottom place. I was going to say third then, but that would have given him a false sense of pride. So look at that. 23 to moi. 19 to Doug has moved up into second, and sorry, Dan, 18th, but bringing up a very respectable rear, as they say. And it's got to be played again.
I don't know, it's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
That's my favourite jingle. Thing is, how many points are you behind there?
Not enough to catch
5 points with 3 games to go.
It's not going to happen.
It's not, is it? We're looking at the wooden spoon. Can I just say, though, our original predictions when we started this way back, it seemed it was like 3 years ago. Dan, you went for Argentina. Doug went for Argentina. Let's just say I didn't. I went for Brazil. So, but those were your.
At least you're not Brad, though.
This is true. This is true. I should add him onto the graphic just for that one, shouldn't I? I will do that. I will do that. But of course, it's all going to change because you may have changed your thoughts about these teams as we've got in. But Argentina versus Croatia. Now, I know the final I want to see. For me, I think this will be a step too far. I mean, you know, for me, Messi is so close to this now; he can taste it. He really can, and I got to think only because I hate the way that Croatia have got this far. I am going for an Argentina to win this. Dan.
Does it really matter what I pick? I mean,
yeah, but we still want to include you. You make the numbers up.
Somebody's got to be the loser, so you might as well carry on. You know what? I'm like myself and Doug said earlier. I've not really been overly that impressed by Argentina. It's a tough one to call because of the way the Dutch scared Argentina in that game, and with the way Croatia set up. You know what? After all the defending I've done of Croatia, I'm gonna back them. I'm gonna back Croatia to knock out Argentina.
Right, let me stick that one in there for you.
How I felt it. Oh,
sorry, Vaseline next time. Doug, I mean, yeah, they're not the best, but they're just like, to me, the you know, we've always said that teams play themselves into into these sort of tournaments, and I just feel that they're becoming that juggernaut at the moment, Argentina. Or do you think Croatia are going to sort of put 11 men behind the ball again and play for penalties? Oh, did I say that out loud?
It's a really, really tricky one to call. You know, look at Argentina. Yes, they haven't overly impressed, but what they have done is they've been very, very solid through this tournament. They've been going very, very, they've been winning games, but they've not been winning games very, very comfortably. And I think that's the thing that continues with this. I have a feeling this might go to extra time. I have a feeling it might go to extra time, and we know what Croatia are like in extra time.
They play for penalties. That's what they do in extra time.
Yeah. As much as it, I mean, to be honest, this game has two players who I wouldn't mind winning the World Cup. Messi is one of them, and Luka Modric. I think Luka Modric is still a fabulous midfielder, and he's done it for a lot of clubs. Obviously, Real Madrid is where he is at the moment, and he's done really, really well. But I backed Argentina all the way through. I think this will be a little bit of a step too far for Croatia. I'm going Argentina.
I'm going Argentina. As indeed did Shane, and good evening to Shane. He's gone 2-1 Argentina. Now, Doug, let's stick with you, because you went for them in the quarters, and you got it spot on. It would be the dream journey if they could get to the final. Are Morocco going to make it?
I mean, who would have predicted that they would get past Belgium, Spain, and Portugal? Who would have predicted that? Samuel Eto'o, the Cameroon sort of president, actually predicted a Morocco-France semi-final. So fair dues. Whatever you saw in predicting that is absolutely amazing.
We don't have a bone through his nose anymore, like does he now, and calls himself a witch doctor for predicting shit like that.
Does he know? Have we got his number? I'll ring him up and get the lottery numbers. Bloody hell! Yeah.
I think the dream final would probably be Argentina-France. If we're being honest, I think many people would have probably looked at that, and I think people would probably predict the Argentina-France final. But a journey has to continue, and it has to come to an end at some point. And I just think the way that Morocco are playing at this moment in time, I don't think France have been great this whole tournament. I'll be honest. I don't think Argentina have been great this whole tournament. And the same with Croatia. For me, Morocco are the best semi-finalists going. I am actually going to say that this is going to go to extra time. I think it'll go to penalties. And we know what Morocco are like at penalties. I'm going Morocco on penalties to beat France, and they will make the World Cup final. I'm going Morocco.
Wow. Wow. Oh. Dan, I don't know what Doug's drinking, but I'll have some of it. Are you going to agree with him, or are you going to put all your money on Le Bleu?
No, I am. I do agree with Doug. I mean, I'm bottom, so I might as well go for it. I've got 3 words: Argentina, Morocco. Argentina, Morocco, which is "Come on, Morocco" in Moroccan, in Arabic Moroccan. So, yeah, I'm gonna back them. I'm gonna back Morocco to get to the final.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it's the final. Sorry.
Right. Let me. Well, all I can say, and sort of bearing with where I have been this weekend, but one of us has got to get it right.
So you're going Morocco as well, then?
And one of us, yeah, and voulez-vous. I'm going to go for the French. It is. I'm afraid for me, I would love to see Morocco get there. I'd love it. I think this is just going to be a step too far for them. My heart wants Morocco with every beat that it's giving. Not only because France knocked us out, although that's a bloody good reason, but it would be for once, it would be the underdog story, wouldn't it? And if they got to the final and they could win it, it would do so much for footballing. It would do for football in Africa almost what the Euros has done for women's football. I really do think that. But this is France. This is the world champions. They are kicking the ass out of the world champion curse, Doug. That always seems to follow certain teams. I just think, I just see that it's going to be France for me. Not as that's the head decision, not a heart decision. So, 2-1 and 2-1 for both those semis, and then we've just got the third and the final to predict, which I'm sure. We will. I don't think we're going to. Well, I don't think we're going to do a show because you're not available on Friday, are you, Dan?
No, I'm not available Friday. No.
So I'll probably just take yours off because we're going to do a review before the two final games, and then we'll do the prediction in there as well.
Well, if needs be, I'll just send you my prediction.
Well, I was going to say if you guys, that was going to be my next point. If you can do, because there's you're not going to win it, so
no.
And once again,
it's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
Sorry, I don't know why that keeps coming up. I really, really don't. I do apologise. And Dan, don't take the fact that you've sort of ended this with sort of, again, no points in the whole round. I mean, it could happen to anybody. I've got Maisie joining me on Tuesday. I better hide that jingle before we go. I'm going to leave this, and we're going to talk about this more on Friday, Doug, with Steve. But I'll start with you, Doug. I've written down here inconsistent refereeing, or the referee's been let down by VAR, because there's been some shocking refereeing in this. Not just in the quarterfinals, but in the whole tournament. It started in the first game and it went up to the last game, which was France-England. It has been awful.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I'm going to say that the referees have been let down badly by VAR. I think VAR it's not covered itself in glory. And I think the refereeing decisions, I mean, the thing is, like, referees should be refereeing games. They shouldn't be getting told in their ear to basically go and look at monitors or anything like that. For me, I think the refereeing has been a joke. I think it has been a joke. There's only been sort of one game where I think I look at the referee and I think, yeah, probably the best one was probably that Frappart, Stephanie Frappart, the game she did. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I
think she should be. She could well be saying at the moment, "Come on, FIFA, take a chance on me for the final."
Hey, yeah.
Oh, come on, still got a few to go. Come on, but she could though, couldn't she? For me, I think she's the one. And if she doesn't get it, I'll just sit there going, "Mamma mia, why didn't she get it?"
Yeah,
here we go again.
I mean, the thing is as well. I think there's a potential that Brazilian referee England France, he could potentially get the final as well, which I think would be mental.
Do you think those that get the quarters and the Dan and the semis? I mean, knowing me, knowing you as I do, do you think? I'm doing my best here. Come on, guys. I remember I don't get paid for this. Do you think that it's going to be a referee that hasn't done any of the quarters or the semis? They usually go for somebody left field, don't they?
For me, I think it should be based on overall which referees had the best performance in terms of, referees in today's game. I think they get awarded certain, their performance is monitored just like the players is.
Yeah.
So I'd give it to the best referee that's from a nation of unbiased.
I mean, I have a dream
again,
that
it goes back to
English referee, but
it definitely can't. It definitely won't be. But it goes back to what Doug says with the VAR thing. How many of these referees have even heard of VAR? They've probably heard it because it's been used in the Premier League, but when have they actually ever used it? Some of these referees from these nations where it's never even been used, they're thinking they're just getting paid to watch the game. And they can just and if they want to make a call, they were like, yeah, sod it. Don't give it. I've got a tenner on him scoring next. Don't bother.
Well, we will see. Like I say, there's certain things haven't. I don't think the referees have called themselves in glory. I do not think that they have done.
Yeah, I need to send out an SOS for VAR.
We do.
Well, Qatar's been all right though, Chris. It's a rich man's world, but
it is. But money talks, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
Yes. Anyway, before we get round to saying Happy New Year to each other, we'll be on that long. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I won't see you on Friday, Dan, but do tell everybody your link is in the detail below for your YouTube channel, but do tell everybody where they can find you.
So, yeah, you can find us at Turf Morehouse TV on YouTube. We are trying to grow to 1K, so that would be fantastic for your support. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. We're on other social medias, but they're the predominant ones. Either Turf Morehouse TV or Turf Morehouse. And please do give us a follow. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Where you can find him, and we're still in a Give a Scotsman a Hug month. But tell people where you are available, sir.
Yeah, you can find me at the Dugout Football channel on YouTube. It's been a pleasure yet again to come on this channel. Please get Chris to 1.6k ASAP, and please get Dan to 1k ASAP. That'd be a lovely early Christmas present, wouldn't it? I'm also on Twitter at nroad_1992. I'm also on Instagram at Douglas.Horn.
Brilliant. Oh, let me add. That's it. That's the wrong button there. Thank you very much, Doug. And yet, subscribe if you are new. I think most of you that have been in the chat, apart from the sex bot and the guy that I banned for being sexist, I think everybody else is already subscribed. But if you haven't, make sure you do. I will see you on Friday. Everybody's doing watch-alongs for the next game. So you pays your money, you takes your choice of where you want to go and watch it. We're all up there. It's like BBC One, ITV, and Channel 4, isn't it? All we need is miking, and we could have had Channel 5. Anyway, hey. Thank you for Doug for coming straight from the football, and obviously, you can see he's a goalkeeper there. So thank you very much for coming this quick straight away, Doug. Really do appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. I'll speak to you both soon, and I'll see you on Friday, young Douglas.
Thank you for the music.
Hey!
Oh, what can I say? If only I had something witty and clever that I could come back and say to that, and I just can't think of one. But I'm desperately looking down the list of ABBA records here, and there's absolutely nothing that is suitable for it. No, we're going to have to leave it there. But, Guy, look, thanks very much to Doug. Thanks very much to Dan. Be sure to go and check them out. They've all got their own targets to hit as well. If you haven't subbed to them too, please do that now. As Bob Geldorf said, give us your subs now. That was quite good. I was just needed the accent. I will be back tomorrow. Yes, I will. 6:30 for the first watch along, and I will be joined by Reese. So I will get subtitles up for that one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to the guys for joining me, and I will see you all tomorrow. And do you not think beginning to feel a lot like Christmas? Good night.
Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.